Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another stream here on Adobe Live. I'm joined by my two favourite people today. Hey, Tim. Hey, Tony.
Hey.
It's me. Here are Tim and Tony with a new Adobe Live.
You do need your own theme tune. Honestly, you're better than Anton Deck. Like
theme
honestly,
tune.
Both of you are so funny.
Whoa!
And,
Praise indeed.
And it must include a flugelhorn, of course. But we're back for Max. And there's been so much that's been happening. And so if any of you have missed any of the content, if you still haven't caught up yet, because there's so much to catch up on, then this stream is definitely for you, because we're going to be covering some of the updates that we've seen at Adobe Max. And I'm excited. We're joined by everybody as well, guys. I can see Sandrine in the chat, and Gareth, Andreas, and Sean as well. Gareth, I saw your comment about me studying on color theory. Yes. I am catching up. And luckily, you know, I'm not going to be sharing anything today, so you don't need any glasses or anything. But have your questions for us today, because this is your time to ask any questions, you know, to Tim and Tony. They're experts in this, you know, so anything, get it onto Behance, you know, / Adobe Live. And Tim and Tony, tell us, you know, what we're going to start with today.
We're going to start with a slightly less frantic look at the video products. We're going to take a look at Premiere. We're going to take a look at After Effects, of course, so Gareth can calm down. And we're also going to look at what's up and coming in Adobe Character Animator. So if you're Character Animator curious, but you're thinking, oh, that looks like so much hard work. Yeah, I'm going to show you something that's going to blow your mind.
Love it. I'm really excited about those updates, because I've used Character Animator a lot over the years, and oh my gosh, it just gets easier, which is even better, right? You know, it can only get better. And this week, I know that there's a lot of questions that are already in the chat about what updates we're showing and what we're doing. And of course, today, as Tony said, we're going to be covering, you know, video, and we're going to be in Premiere Pro. On Wednesday, we've got Karina and Rachel Presky here to look at the updates with illustration in Fresco. And then on Friday, Gareth, I hope you're sitting down. On Friday, we've got Joe and Rob here with After Effects and Premiere Pro. So even more to cover all week. So we have a jam-packed schedule for you all. So yes. And then if we get through everything with you today, Tony, I'm sure Tim, is there anything that you'd like to show if we've got time?
Yes. Perhaps some Illustrator magic.
Yes.
Some of the new features, technology previews. Who knows if we have time? Let's see.
Amazing. Good. Well, I'm wearing waterproof mascara just in case you guys make me cry laughing again. I always have to be ready with you, pair.
Yeah.
So I'm all ready. Let's go for it. And obviously, any questions, you know, I'm looking through the chat. Hey, Emma, lovely to see you here as well. Gareth says, I think I'm washing my hair on Friday.
Me too.
What? All right,
that was so cut 5 minutes.
And of course, we are reading the Behance chat as always. So if you are watching on YouTube, do make sure to come on over to be.net/Adobe Live and join the chat, join the conversation, have some fun, say hi, let us know where you're from if this is your first time joining us. And that's all for me. Moving over to Tony. Tony, what do you got for us?
Oh, let's start off in Premiere. So let's get my screen up. And by the way, Mad, sorry for pocket dialing you in the night time.
Oh, yeah, at a random call.
Random.
I was cooking a pie, and it was funny. Yeah,
I'm a phone in my pajamas, and you know, just managed to pocket dial you. Anyway, moving on. Right.
Hope it wasn't a FaceTime.
It wasn't. Oh, anyway, right. So I'll just go through, in case you missed the first take, still available on demand on YouTube, by the way. But just in case you missed them and you haven't got the time to check them out, I'm going to go over some of those things again. So the first thing you're going to notice with the video products now is that they have a unified version number, right? And that's important for a number of reasons, but mainly it makes things clearer for people who are administering the applications for you. It's very, very, very important for people like that, which may, of course, be yourself. So you'll notice if you go to About Premiere Pro, that it is version 22 consistently. And if I went to After Effects, it is version 22 consistently. If I went to, I think Audition is version 22 and Character Animator is version 22. So that you know, you're not having to think, oh, have I got the right version of After Effects with the right version of Premiere, the right version of Media Encoder? Now, all of that stuff has gone. Okay, right. So random, straightforward, unified things, version numbers. Now, also, let me see if this is working again properly. It's not. In the green room before we started, I managed to break the new unified import experience, which is now showing nothing. So we can skip over that, but there is a brand new unified import and export experience inside of Premiere, which is really cool and is much, much more efficient than going ahead and using your operating system to bring media in, especially if it's contained in different folders, because in the import experience, it's very much like using Adobe Rush, okay, where you can bring things in from different places. It doesn't care. And the order in which you bring them in actually starts you a sequence, which you can name in that place. And you'll find that Premiere has become much more user-friendly, so fully embracing the creator audience, so YouTubers, people use Vimeo, all of those things, making it much easier. None of the power is dissolved or it's not dumbed down in any way, shape or form. It is just easier to use. So you'll see at the top here, I have 3 tabs. I have import, not working because Tony broke it by trying to import 743 files at the same time from there by accident. Okay, because I'm stupid. Okay, the edit space, which is the one where all of your other workspaces are, and the export experience here, which we'll talk about in just a little bit. So in the edit space, you're probably thinking, but where have all the things gone across the top? Where are all the different workspaces? Where's assembly? Where's editing? Where's color correction? Where are all of those things? They have moved, as they have in other apps, to the same place, and that's on the right hand side. You'll see it's exactly the same in Illustrator, exactly the same in Photoshop. Okay, so you have all of those things. If I click here, here are my different workspaces, because editing is one thing, right? The edit workspace itself, but these are all sub workspaces here. So everything is there. You've not lost anything. And if you prefer the menu system, they're also here as well, as along with the keyboard shortcuts to move between them if you need to do that. Okay, so on that, what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to go into the first few seconds, the first 15 seconds to be more or less accurate here, or 18 seconds and so many frames. Which is just an intro to one of my YouTube videos here. And if I just go ahead and just play just a moment of this.
If you want to find out how to create editable gradient text in Illustrator.
Okay, so that sort of thing. Now, captioning is a big deal. There are many people who do not have a sense of hearing, okay? And it's important to make sure that your work is available to people who can't hear it. There are also people who are sometimes in situations where they can't have audio on. So personally, I like to learn stuff when I'm on the treadmill in the gym, right? I have my phone propped up on the top of the treadmill and I can just carry on walking and absorb content through my AirPods, right? If I want to, or if I don't want the AirPods in because I'm getting a bit warm, I can just watch the subtitles to have that. So there are third-party solutions for captioning, but Premiere has one of its own. It was introduced a little while ago, but it's been beefed up somewhat. So what I'm going to do here is switch into the caption workspace. I'm also just going to turn off this light on the side there because it's right in the corner of my eye. I'm sure you can look at that. Okay, so here's what we have. We have this transcribe sequence. Now I've kept this short, so it's nice and easy to work with. So if I choose that, I get a dialog like so, create a transcript. The sequence name is the sequence that's here, gradient text tut, and you can see it's 20 seconds long. Okay, and then I've got some settings here, right? So I'm going to use the audio on the track. I can use a mix, or I can choose a particular channel if I want to do that. Okay, and the language that it's in. Okay, you'll see here these download links. These are for language packs that will come along in a wee while. And also, right, so if I go ahead and transcribe this, It pushes that up to Creative Cloud, brings it down. One of the big deals here is that for English only at the current time, you can have transcription on device, so it doesn't get uploaded anywhere if that's a bother for you, although it shouldn't be because it's never kept. It's not used to train anything. Okay, the audio is just there. It's translated or transcribed, and then it's flushed from the system. So you can see here is my transcription. I've got speaker 1. Now, if I had dialogue between me and somebody else, I could click on that and edit the speakers. So speaker 1, I'm just going to click to edit here. And let's just call that TDN for the Design Ninja, because that'd be me. Okay, and hit save. You can see now I have that. And if there was dialogue from someone else, then it would know. All right, okay, and it could go ahead and do those things. I'm pretty happy with that as it is. Of course, I could go and edit it in different places if I need to. So that's kind of working if you want to find out how to create editable text and also find out why it works the way it does. We're in the right place, and that's here in the, now you can see work smarter, not harder dojo. That's actually one thing. So I'm going to make an edit to that. See, as soon as I double click on it, I can access the text because the work smarter, not harder dojo should be capitalized because it's an actual place. There you go with me, Tony Homer, aka the Design Ninja. Tony Homer, I get that one a lot.
Hey, at least it's got one less than last time. You're not Tony Homer.
No, oh no, there you go. I get Tony
Well,
Homer,
I always
Tony
get
Hammer.
Mandy. Instead of Maddy, it's always Mandy.
Mandy.
So,
yeah.
every
Me too.
time.
Anyway, you
so
can see
cool.
that I've made that correction. That's all there. But what I want to do now is I want to create captions to go with it. So I'll go ahead and click create captions. It's just so much more relaxed, by the way, not having to do it all in 25 minutes. So I can create that from the sequence transcript. Okay, it can create a blank track for me as well. Okay, so here the caption presets. So you can create different preset or use these different preset types of captioning. Okay, so format here as well. You've got options for that, plenty of options. Style is interesting because you can create your own styles, okay, in the essential graphics panel, okay, for your captions if you want to. Now, I know we're not going to do that today, but you can find that and do that. You can set a max line character length, okay, and the maximum duration in seconds, okay, and the gap between captions as well if you need to do that. Okay, and I'm going to allow double lines. Okay, so you can either have single line captions or double line captions. But if I hit create, okay, it will go ahead and create me the captions. I then get this brand new caption track up here. So if any of the captions aren't quite sequenced the way you want to be, so let's just say they're a few frames or a few milliseconds out, you can just go ahead and move them into the right place. But let's run this and see what the captions look like. What I'll do is just hover over here, hit my tilde key, and let's go ahead.
If you want to find out how to create editable gradient text in Illustrator and also find out why it works the way it does, you're in the right place. And that's here in the Work Smarter Not Harder Dojo with me, Tony Harmer, aka the Design Ninja.
Now that would have looked so much more attractive if I hadn't have been working at half resolution, which I was, but let me just show you how that looks in full res. So we'll go ahead and let it loop back.
If you want to find out how to create editable gradient text.
So that's how that looks. Again, as I mentioned earlier, you can go ahead and change the style of that. So you've got options, you know, for the shadow that it has at the moment. You can click on the caption tracks here. So if I just go ahead and click on one of these, just so you can see it, you can also select a whole range of things or create a style and apply it. And there are the options that you have. It is very, very cool.
It's cool, isn't it? And for me, look, so I'm right in the middle of making videos at the moment, and I'm actually way behind. But anyway, that's another thing. I've got content on the screen that I was really worried that when I would put these captions on, that it would cover up the information. So I'm glad that I can switch it to just one line instead of two to actually not take up too much space. And so that's going to be really useful for me. So nice.
I mean, what you have to remember, of course, is to always consider the audience first. So if your graphics are getting in the way of the audience understanding the content, you need to modify your graphics. It's, you know, that's the thing. Audience first, always. You can drop a rectangle behind as well. So if you want to pop a background on, you can do that. You can then change the amount of padding on the background as well, okay, to a value that suits you. You can see I'm just padding that out. In fact, if I just go ahead and switch, right, so I've just padded that out. Yeah, so this is the padding area just here. So you can set a consistent value for that. Okay, you can also, if sharp corners bother you, you can go ahead and round those off. Can you see that rounding, Mads? In fact, if I go extreme.
And you could put that, could you put that like as a lower third across everything so that your you know, those captions only appear on that line across the whole screen?
That is pretty much what you're doing. You can set the position for where the things appear. You can see in here in this grid. So I've got the center of I'm calling it a comp, the center of that footage just there, the top, the bottom, but you can also create an offset value here as well. So if you want to change the vertical position, you can do that. Remember, negative numbers move it up the screen. So, and that's it, it's set. Now, I'd have to actually move that style across to the other captions, but like I said, you can create a style from here and do it. Now, I said we weren't going to do that, and we've ended up doing it. But
and also, people are very impressed with your voiceover. They call it the voice from above. And Emma's asking if you could narrate her life, you know.
Once upon a time, in a small country called Finland, a young child was born. They called her Emma because she was the magical one.
Okay.
Will that do for starters? Thank you very much. Right, moving on.
That'll be £50.
1 second.
Right. And also, we got a question from our very own Gareth, of course, regarding video, and just have to scroll up. Serious question. The render window is back in After Effects, big style, and now you have the 3 new color scheme render readings. I'm thinking you are talking about multi-frame render.
Oh, he's talking about the vector scope. Are you talking? Well, we'll get to After Effects in a minute if he's talking about After Effects. But
well,
he's talking about the vector.
What's the point about media encoder then if multi-frame rendering is this thing? But if you say we can talk about that in the next section.
Yeah, we'll talk about that when we get to that thing. Media encoder is still a very, very valuable tool. And we'll do a whole bunch of things for you. But if you did want to render in product, and that includes in Premiere, you can do. And do you know what? In fact, it doesn't really matter if we jump across. If I go to this short thing I put together with some footage from Adobe stock and an After Effects comp in there. Okay, this is my Adobe Ironworks movie, so a bit of virtual design, la la la. We'll put some music to it in a moment. Okay, and talk about a feature that I didn't manage to cover in the first takes, which is very much worth looking at. Okay, so I've got that footage just there. If I wanted to go to the export experience here, this is what it looks like. Much, much simpler to navigate. Okay, so here you can choose from several different presets for popular video platforms. Okay, so you can see YouTube, Vimeo, Twitter, Facebook, Behance, Creative Cloud, Adobe Stock. So if you're producing footage for Adobe Stock, you totally should. If you've just got footage that's sitting on your machine doing nothing, submit it to Adobe Stock. That could be exactly the footage that somebody's looking for, and you could be earning the big dollars. You know, there you go. So just try it, or at least £1 or £2. You can. Some people earn a really good living out of stock footage. Anyway, so you can choose the thing here. I've chosen media file, and then I've got my settings. Again, very, very friendly, okay, for me to use. I can accept these things if I want to. If I want to get down and in the weeds with it, I can do that. But you'll notice it is a much, much smoother experience for exporting, much clearer to people who are newer to the product or who perhaps maybe aren't too worried about, you know, certain things with codecs and you know, so maybe not too worried about those. Nice and easy to use. You get a good preview here. Okay, you can set in points and out points on here. Okay, you've got transport controls just in that region there. Then you get a summary in the region at the bottom here. And then you've got the choice to either export this straight away, or if you plan on working on a number of sequences, which I know many video pros here will be, you can just send that to Media Encoder and it'll just sit there in the queue ready to run. So it's entirely up to you how you do it. But if you are working on one piece of footage and you want to export it, just blah, and off it goes. Yeah, nice and easy. So there's nothing lost there and everything to gain, especially if you're not fully conversant with all of the detailed stuff here. And of course, where it's going to go, that bit's important just there. So you can see, you can choose where the footage is going to go.
Tony, there have been some questions. So I think it was Mike who originally asked the question around, what if you already have a script and that you already know what you want to say? Is there an option to use, to use your transcript that you already have? Because I think that's how we do it today.
Yeah, you can import a transcript. I'm pretty certain you can, actually. Let me just go. I'm saying with certainty, but I need to check because I've got something else in the background going on with captioning in just a little bit. So if I go to the caption workspace, there you go, import captions from files. So if you've already got an SRT file or something similar like that, you can go ahead and import them just there.
And how would the timing work for that? Well, that was the question that Stefan asked. Stefan asked. How would you have to move it?
Right. Okay. If you've that's a kind of a different workflow that we're not going to unfortunately get down that rabbit hole for that. Okay, but you do have import options to bring in a file, and if it's an SRT already, then you've kind of already got that. I should have. There's an SRT just here. It's a completely different movie, so it's not going to work terribly well. But you see, it is available for import, and there are no options for that. So you can bring them in.
Cool.
It's great how it does it for you, though. Really, really awesome. Right. Let's have a look. And also, the other thing is go to the Premiere beta, right, and go ahead and open Premiere. Click on it. So if you've got some of the things here I'm showing are in the current public beta. Okay, so they're like bubbling under, ready to come up into the main product. You know what I mean? If you go ahead and click the lab icon, which you'll find in any of the betas here, it will tell you what's new, what all the changes are. And let me scroll through this a moment. Look at what's going on here. Look at that.
Wow.
It's a lot going on. And what you can do is always click on these things to view more. And the team have written up stuff. They've got PDFs. They're ready for you. Okay, in some places, things for you to look at. And that should answer all of your questions, because of course there's only so much we can shoehorn into an hour. Okay, so I'm back in the edit workspace just here. Let's have a look at something. One of these has got an adjustment layer on it. This one has. So here's my little adjustment layer just there. Okay, changing. If I just go ahead and turn that off. Okay, so that should update that and turn it back on. There you go. You see it gets a bit warmer all of a sudden. Now, color correction pros, okay, will want to use the arsenal of tools available to them. So if I go ahead and go to the color workspace just here, you'll see I have the Lumetri Scopes panel. And Maddy, this one has been devised especially for you.
I'm really glad about this.
So this is in the this is in the YUV arrangement at the moment. You can change how you see that, okay, in a few different places, but this is in the YUV format here. Okay, now let me just, in case you don't know what this is, let me just try and explain in a nutshell what this is. You can see that there is a sort of a hexagon just here, and you've got red, magenta. I'm going to actually magnify this for a second. There we go. And you can even change the magnification of this inside the panel. So if you want to view it super big, you can actually go ahead and do that. Right, but red, magenta, blue, cyan, green, yellow, and background. Right, okay, so that's a representation of the color wheel, essentially. Now the hexagon here, okay, this is your broadcast safe limit. Okay, so when you've got colors that are going outside of that, that means they may be changed on broadcast to fit within the broadcast gamut. Yeah, so that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to keep your colors full broadcast in that range. However, if you're not broadcasting by traditional media, you're doing something else, then you can perhaps exceed that boundary. The line that I'm indicating here is the line for skin tones. And it doesn't matter where you come from in the world, your skin tones will fall around that line. It's just a thing. It's just a balance between magenta and yellow. That's what changes, yeah, or red and yellow. That's what changes our skin tone. So that's what that line is for, especially if you're trying to go ahead and balance something that has skin tones inside of it. I think I might have an adjustment layer just here. Actually, is that an adjustment? No, it's not. But you can see tones throughout. There's loads of other stuff coming in from other places as well there. So if I actually went to that source, but you can see, okay, where those tones are coming in just there. And I think that's the only close-up footage I've got there. But anyway, if you want to, if you're a color pro and you want to go ahead and use this, this has been made much easier to see. You can also change, I've right-clicked on it here. You can change your view of it. So if you want the HLS vector scope as well, you can do that. If you want your histogram, which also has been improved, you have that just there as well. Okay, and you have various different options here to work with as you do. So that's all good stuff. I ought to mention that there's a whole load of other things which I won't be showing today, but I can tell you what they are for color management, which now includes HEVC. I'm reading this off of my little reminder thing over on the side. HEVC, H.264, Sony XAVC L HDR. So there's improved histograms for them and improved color management options for them as well. Now, if you did see this, this is one that I mentioned was great for Joe, because this is a little bit of a littering across several tracks just here at the moment, and there's no audio in here at the minute. There will be in a moment, okay, but bit of a littering. If you want to simplify that, there's now an option to do that. If I go to Sequence here and come down to Simplify Sequence, can Tony find it in enough time? There we go, down at the bottom. Just so if I choose Simplify Sequence, it will create me a new version of this sequence. Okay, so I get these options. This is going to be Adobe Ironworks simplified. Okay, close vertical gaps. Okay, flatten multi-camera clips. So if you've got multi-cam stuff going on, where you've maybe been tapping 1, 2, 3 to switch between cameras as it's going on, and a few other options as well. But if I just choose simplify, boom, there it is, down to 2 tracks. Nothing lost. Yeah, 3 tracks rather. Nothing lost. Cool. Just nice and tidy. Closed up all of those vertical gaps. Yeah, same footage there. Everything's, you know, adjustment layers still affecting the footage they're affecting for, and nothing is gone, as I said again. Okay, because I can switch between those 2 things. So this is the version I work on. This is the one I share with Joe. The version I work on, one I share with Joe.
That's cool. It makes it look much tidier. And Sandra shared an acronym in the chat, but you must know what this is. Respect Gloria.
I don't actually know that one. No, if she wants to just go ahead and type that one out for me.
Yes, let us know. I mean, I thought it was a design thing. I mean, if this is Gloria Estefan, complete respect.
I mean, I just know it's RESPECT.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. Right, so I'm going to just close up that sequence. Let's go back to this one. Let's drop in some audio. So I'm going to change my workspace again, back to editing. I'm also just going to do a quick time check so that Tim doesn't go, there's 4 minutes left.
We have 3 minutes left.
There's 3 minutes left, yes. Sorry, mate. Oh dear. Right, I've got some audio here, so I'm going to bring that in. I'm going to unmute that track, so there's going to be some audio this time. So let's go ahead and, from Adobe stock, by the way. We're not going to play the whole thing out. Okay, right, so you can hear that there's audio there. I'm just going to view my whole timeline. Now, this audio, okay, is quite a bit longer than the track. Now, I could go ahead and go to Audition, okay, and go ahead and use the remix feature, okay, on that to do that. Yeah. Well, the good news is if I just go ahead and switch to my audio options just here and highlight that. I haven't done this for a week or two, but anyway, you do have an option now. Go back. Yeah, you can remix directly in
my goodness.
Premiere. So if I right click on it and
this is amazing. I use the remix a lot, right? And having this in Premiere Pro now.
Yeah.
Oh, this is
good. No,
good.
but you can do it. You can set a time from here. I'm just actually trying to find. That's fun. I thought it was in Essential Graphics, Essential Sound rather. But it should be just round and about and handy. Tim, can you remind me where it is?
The remix, that should be in Essential Sound, yes.
Yeah, I thought so. I am in the right version of Premiere. Yeah, it's right for a moment. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to audio. I've got that targeted.
Well, edit, not browse.
Yeah, even in edit, it's not there. No,
you have to specify it as music.
Did.
And then you can say duration. Check.
And there we are. Thanks, mate. Cheers. Remix. There we go. Thank you very much. Yeah, so it's just checking that, same as it does. And thank you very much, Tim, for that. I'm used to just clicking on it, being there.
I'm used to somebody reading me a script.
Anyway, you can change your duration in here. So my target duration, let me just take this to the end of this timeline. Okay, so I'm at 1:11:25. So I'm just going to go ahead and change this to 1. And let's go for that and change that to 11. Tim's snickering at me for some reason.
No, Emma's saying, fine, Tim can narrate my life. And
there we go.
Teamwork. Thanks, John. Yeah, there has to be some reason why I'm here.
Tim, we should team up, man. We should be reading bedtime stories together and doing all of that stuff on Calm. We'd make a mint.
You do the English one and I do the German one. There you are.
There you go. Right, so you can see that it's now remixed that track. Now, I need to zoom in on this for you a bit. In fact, I'm just going to temporarily show you here. So let me just go ahead. Now, you might just be able to see these wavy lines. If you've done this in Audition, this will be very familiar to you. But this is where Premiere has made cuts, okay, to make the music fit. But it is super, super good. Of course, there's going to be the odd occasion where it doesn't get it perfect. But I've got to tell you, and I can say this hand on heart, that is super, super rare. Yeah, it does a really good job. So we're just going to go across this section here. So I've taken this to about 10 seconds here. We're just going to play it for about 10 seconds. So it skips over this join. Let's have a listen to it. There you go. We'll go to the next join. And we'll go just ahead of this join here, just a bit further back, so you get the chance to hear the music right before it jumps over. You can imagine if you had to do that manually, you'd be looking at a significant chunk of work. Yeah, to get that done. The fact that it can do that and it can do it so well, even if there's vocals on the track, it's perfectly capable of doing it. Yeah, really, really stunning. But now you don't have to dip out into Audition to do it. You can do that directly in product, which means you see the whole thing in the timeline. Really, really good stuff. Okay. Right, so I'll go back to editing. If you're collaborating, Frame.io, of course, Adobe acquired Frame.io a little while back. So if you're sending footage for people to comment on, okay, and give you feedback on, you upload it to, so you use this, such as Frame.io here, share, okay, and send that up to Frame.io with your account. You have to set up a separate account at the moment to do that. It doesn't cost you anything, it's all included if you're working as an individual. right? So you can have a thing where you've got two people working together on that. A number of people can comment, right? But enterprise solutions exist as well for larger organizations, but for a couple of people working together, sweet, no costs at all. Okay, so you can do that. I'm not going to show you the whole experience of doing that. It's really cool though. You open it in a browser, you can play it, you can pause, you can draw on the footage. Okay, so if I go to this footage here, this is associated with this particular clip. So I put in 2 points here. This is a comment. Is this the right name? I thought it was Luxana, so I can click on that. You'll notice the CTI, the current time indicator or playhead, jumps to that particular point in the footage here. Okay, and if I click on this one, can we mask this dude out? You can see there's a rectangle around the chap that's just walking onto, well, presumably a chap, right? And can't really be certain when you're that near to a blast furnace, could be anybody, right? So, but you can see that there's a mark around that. Yeah, great workflow. Avoids lots and lots of potential ambiguity that exists in workflows like that. Really smart acquisition, I think, personally.
Completely.
Okay, so export, just down to there, as I meant, we've seen that earlier, right? So we don't need to waste any more time on that. We can shoot ahead and go into After Effects. Right, and I can just bring my After Effects prompts to the front here. So a lot happening in After Effects under the hood. Yeah, some stuff on the surface, but there's a lot going on under the hood to make it faster. It's accessing more cores on your CPU, so it's making your CPU much more efficient. Of course, ready for Apple M1 and all of that good stuff, as is pretty much everything. I think now, 1 second. So you've got a new feature in here. So you've got multi-frame rendering. So it will go ahead and render a number of frames for you. Into what? Core, yes. That's all right. I just saw Gareth's comment. Right, so if I go ahead and make a change anywhere on this, right, you can see at the moment the green bar here, this is all currently rendered, this footage. This is very straightforward, just simple effect on top of this. And then it crosses across to a static version of the graphic because I was doing minimum possible work to get that on there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get my effects panel, effect controls up just here. So, which should be there actually. Oh, I think if I click on some footage, that would be even more better. Okay, so let's have a look at what we've got. Yeah, that one doesn't actually have any effects on it, it says, which is unusual. This will work also with pre-comps. So if you've got pre-comps inside of here, let me go into this one and just see where we are. There we go. So we've got some stuff going on here. Okay. If I just pause for just a few seconds, you can see that this isn't rendered at the moment. But if I just pause for a few seconds, watch around the CTI. Watch what happens, because if you leave something alone, if you make a change, then just a few seconds, you can now see that's going outwards from the CTI. So it's rendering really quickly, okay, across that. So if I was going to go back a little bit or forward a little bit, I don't have to wait for it to render. It's there for me already, right? So it's doing it from the point you're actually working on. So you can then go ahead, right, and carry on working with that. Let me go back to this point here, because in the burn up comp there, you might have noticed some stuff just on the right hand side, but I'm going to show you how to access that. So here I've got all of my little icons for this is a 3D layer, all of that good stuff. Okay, but what I'm going to do is toggle onto my toggle my modes and switches just here. Okay, where I've got my trick mats and all of that stuff. Or track mats. Someone called them trick mats. No, I can't get it out of my head. Track mat here. I'm going to right click, and for the columns, I'm going to choose this new render time addition. And this is introducing something called the composition profiler. Okay, so if I go ahead and choose that, okay, it will tell me how long it's taking to render, okay, a frame here. So if I go to another frame, you can see this is 12 milliseconds at this point. Not surprising, because there's nothing on there. But if I move a bit further forward to where it is actually using an effect, you can see that's increased to 290 milliseconds just there. If I switch back to 10 frames here, you can also see there's color coding in place. So this is showing green just here. If I go forward a bit, you can see it's showing in a sort of more sort of orangey amber color. And as I go through, it will change, showing me where the render intensive parts and even effects are, okay, inside of here. So it goes way, way down in details. Okay, so you can see lots of stuff going on there. Now, the team have put together, if I just bring this onto this screen just for a second, the team have put together a PDF that introduces you to the composition profiler. Really useful. So if you think this is going to be handy, and trust me, it's going to be handy, this PDF is here already for you to review what's going on. So it shows you where to find it, okay? And there's a little icon here, which I didn't show you. I'll show you that in just a second. I keep forgetting about it. It's this snail icon. Why is it slow? Click on the snail, you'll find out. And here's the color coding for the rendering, because it has a meaning, right? Real time is green on the left-hand side. Half real time is a slightly darker shade of green. And then you can see how that goes to more than 5 seconds on there. So if you've got a load of compounded effects, you're going to expect to see more of those things. But once you know it's there, you can do it. You can also see pre-comps here just inside of this image. If I just zoom in on this image just for a second, it does read pre-comps as a whole. But if you want to find out what the culprits are inside of that pre-comp, you can go ahead and go into the pre-comp, and then you'll see the granular level stuff. There's also some tips inside of here, which are really, really useful. This area just here for alternate effects you might consider. So it shows you here, for example, if you're using fast box blur against the Gaussian blur, now you can see the effect there is pretty much the same, right? This is where Gaussian blur is performing at 13 milliseconds just there to render, whereas fast box blur is 50 milliseconds. So that's a significant overhead against that. So it's just saying, try these out. Maybe they'll work better for you. And here, there's also glow versus VR glow and colorama versus tritone versus tint. And it even shows you, because it's got 3 comps there that have been affected by those effects. Okay, you can see that the tint there, 17 milliseconds, the tritone, 11 milliseconds. Yeah, sorry, 1 millisecond just there. So 3 milliseconds, 1 millisecond against colorama, 23 milliseconds. So that's really, really handy. Yeah, there's some stuff in there about color spaces as well, Gareth. I did just see that in the chat. So you can find that out as well. So great thing. Yep.
And Tony, you've got a question for Mike as well. How do you get rid of the parts that stay rendered after you've made changes?
They shouldn't. They should re-render. They should re-render once you've made a change. If it has a cascading effect, it will render those things as well. Yeah. Okay. And there are bits on there, such as the new triangle for not multi-frame compatible. And here's that snail down at the bottom. Yeah, so if you click the snail, that's another way to turn on that switch really quickly. If you need to see it, it's a nice little snail down at the bottom. Right, I am at 46. So in order to give Tim some airtime, so he's not just sat there, I am going to dip across into Character Animator, because if you haven't used this application, you really should. Really, really, really should. Now, what are the barriers to using this application? Well, you're probably thinking, oh yeah, but I've looked at that before, and I've got to make a puppet in Illustrator, and it's got to have all of these layers in this way, and they've all got to be done in a certain way, and then I've got to make all the different mouths and all of that, and I just want a straightforward character. Yeah, and now there's this great new thing. This is, again, is in the beta, right? But the publicly accessible beta, you can get to it via your Creative Cloud desktop app, which I'm just going to bring onto the screen just here. Right, you can see the beta apps just there. Okay, the stuff that's locked away to everything apart from pre-release users, you may not get that on yours. Okay, but beta apps just there. You can go ahead and install the betas, test out the features, and also let the teams know which things are working for you, which things are currently not working for you. and how you would propose changing them. So here's the new Puppet Maker, Make a Puppet. Okay, so if I click on this, I go into the Puppet Maker workspace, takes it a moment, okay, to head up like so. And you start away by choosing a style. So you've got a bunch of different styles on here. Okay, so you go ahead and change the style. That's just bringing that in like so. And then you have these options underneath. So it's just preparing the professional at the moment. Some of the things take a little bit longer than others. Okay, quite well, there you go. Okay, that's appearing just now. And you can see it's also reading my voice as I go. I should do a different voice for this. Reading my voice like so. I'm going to change the hairstyle. So there you go. That's much more me.
Cool.
It is very cool. Now I want to change the hair color. Yeah, so I can do that. I want to change the skin color. Okay, like so. In fact, I'm going to change the hair color again. Okay, like that. And I want to change the skin detail. Okay, so now you can see I've got some more details on that. Let's put a mole on there. See how much more beautiful I am right now. Okay, so change the eyebrow types. They tried to put my original eyebrows on here, but they were too big for the face. They went with the lasered version of my eyebrows. Eyelids, okay, so you haven't got many options for eyelids just there. Okay, but you can change things about the eyes, the eye shape. You can change the nose shape. And all available via these different widgets. You can see the clothing just here, so you know, it's like, anyway, moving on. You can change the clothing color. So all these configurable options, just crazy. And people who use products like Illustrator and who can build in things like this in the future, you'll be able to, you know, there's possibilities there. That's all I'm saying at this particular moment. You've got the scene in the background here.
It's so engaging. It's crazy. It's so good. Yeah.
So you can change hand gestures here, right and left hand. Can you see that? So I'm just changing the left hand just at the moment. So the one nearest the camera. And now I'm changing the right hand. And once you do that, you just tap to generate. Like so. And then you'll end up, yeah.
I'm enabling a group of schools in London, a load of school kids, and I'm using Character Animator to do a storytelling workshop. So this, honestly, the new features, oh my gosh, I'm excited. I'm so excited.
Yes, it's good stuff. Don't forget, you've also got body tracking in there as well. So no need for a green suit and ping pong balls. Yeah, it's all good. You can just freak out in your room and get it all on there. I want to show you just one more thing here. So I'm going to go to, I'm going to go ahead and create a new scene here. In fact, do you know what? I'm going to go home. I'm going to use one of the built-in puppets just here. Of course, I'm going to use the wizard because, you know.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so I've got this puppet like so. It's reading my voice. I haven't got the correct camera hooked up just here, so I'm going to leave that. It's not doing anything with my camera, but it's reading my voice straight away, interpreting it. Now, sometimes you're going to want to use, okay, audio from somewhere else. You perhaps have a professional voiceover artist doing some of your work for you. So let's go ahead and import some audio just here. So I'm going to go to this folder that we saw briefly earlier on. Okay, so I've got track 001 WAV just there. So I'm going to bring that in, and I'm also going to bring in the captions. So on the right hand side here in my audio panel, okay, I'm going to import the SRT file, which I actually made in Premiere from the original audio. So I have a transcription. So you can see here the time. If I just magnify this panel for a second, it says, oh yeah, let's find out what's new in Adobe Character Animator. Oh yeah, on the end there. Right, so not particularly complex audio. Yeah, but I can bring this audio in like so. Now I'm going to select the puppet and the audio, which should have that transcription attached to it. So compute lip sync from audio and transcript. And so the audio, as you'll hear in a moment, might not always be very, very clear for the vizzings to work in the correct way. So having a transcript of what the words actually are informs Character Animator which vizzings, those are the mouse shapes for those of you that don't know, okay, are used in there. And now you're going to see why this perhaps wasn't the easiest thing for it to read.
Oh yeah, let's find out what's new in Adobe Character Animator. Oh yeah, let's find out. Let's find out now.
Right, so
What?
obviously, so of course, if I was saying, oh yeah, let's find out what's new in Adobe Character Animator, let's find out now, that's pretty easy for the software to go, oh yeah, I know what those words were. Yeah. Okay, but if I do it in, oh yeah, let's find out what's new in Adobe Character Animator, oh yeah, maybe not so easy. So that new addition is epic. What were you saying? What was your question?
No, I was just laughing that Emma's like, please don't narrate my life now.
Come on, Maddy, you remember when I was Batman for a day?
Yes. I remember. Oh my gosh, right. This is so cool. I mean, it's so good to see how we can use this, right? And everyone's saying we need more time on this stream. We need this to be a masterclass so we can have more time. And there's 6 minutes left. Is that enough time?
Yeah, for Tim. Tim, I'm really sorry that all I left you was about 10 minutes, 6 to 10 minutes. Sorry, mate. But,
right.
Over to you, my good buddy. Blame Emma. That's all right.
Illustrator has some new features, and that's all the time we have for today. So thank you so much for watching us. That ought to be enough, right?
Yeah, that'll be fine.
And Photoshop too, you know. Just there we are. That's it. And bye. No. Right. Let's quickly talk about my 2 favorite features. They're really quick, I promise. Let's start with, I don't know, Photoshop. I have this wonderful poster I've been working on in one of the past streams, and this one is all about goats from space. And I really like this fun title, and of course, this amazing graphic made with free assets from Adobe stock, by the way. And I would like to add some, you know, just a gradient on top of that text, because Maddy, I think we all know everyone loves gradients, especially the colorful ones.
Who doesn't love a gradient? I mean,
for this, of course, we can use the classic one. I can just pick the gradient tool, pick any one I like, and create a clipping mask. There we are. Bim, bum, boom, bum, 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 and there we got it. All right. Now, why am I talking about gradients? Well, there is two new gradients actually for us to check out. And for us to see that better, let's just create a new layer. No, I don't want to delete that one. Create a new one, fill it with black, and let's get the gradient tool once again. And for this time, we won't pick a black and white gradient. We will actually pick something with color in it. So for this case, I will pick one that's really has offending colors if you're used to the old gradients. In this case, like a dark green and a nice red. Now, let's go over to the classic one. You can see up here, you can say method classic. So this used to be the way we created gradients. And I mean, if you just look at that, the red is great, no? The green is fantastic, but everything in the center that's just dark and mushy and brown, and nobody would like this. So, in the past, we would have had to go to Image, Mode, and LAB Color, because this would indeed fix it. Now, it's much better. We can select either linear or perceptual gradients. So let me select this perceptual one, draw another gradient on a new layer, and let me just transform that so you can see a difference. And wow, I mean, just look at that difference. On the left, we have brown. On the right, we have a beautiful yellow. Wonderful. And this works with other colors too, of course. So any color combination that in the past would have had like a weird one in the middle, now you have a beautiful new gradient. And there's a difference between perceptual and linear, and let me just show that to you. So let's remove this. Let's pick colors
That
that
looks
actually
so much better.
opposite. How about a blue and a yellow? Now these are quite opposite on the color spectrum. Let's check out perceptual. Beautiful, almost looks like a sky. Really nice. Let's open linear. And finally, of course, classic. Doop. Right, let's put classic all the way to the right. And linear in the center. Now, you can hopefully clearly see that there is indeed a difference. And I can show you the difference by just grabbing any color picker, moving that over. And now pay attention to the hue strip on the right. If I go from the top, it stays in blue, goes over to green, and goes to yellow. Like, pay attention to that tiny arrow. In the linear one, it stays in blue, goes the other way around, and whoop, jumps back to yellow. And of course, the classic one mostly stays in blue, goes very desaturated. You can see it's almost gray, and then it just jumps to yellow. So that's essentially the difference. I would encourage you to give it a try, see which variation you like. I particularly like, of course, the new perceptual one, which is the default. And you can get all the beautiful colors that previously would not have been possible by using the normal RGB color mode. You would have had to switch to NAB. Now, since we only have 30 seconds left, let's quickly
Emma's just given us an extension. She says we can go on for 10 minutes.
Oh, okay, I see. All right. Well, it's not much I want to show anyway. I wanted to show in Illustrator my new favorite feature, which is the technology preview of 3D graphics, text, assets, you know. You can turn objects into 3D now. For example, let's just do something very simple. Let's type in, I don't know, Adobe Live. Okay. And now go to Window, 3D and Materials. Up pops a new panel. We can put that over to the right. And in here we have a couple of options. Some presets we can start with. First of all, let's go to Object. There we are. These are the presets I wanted. I can turn this into a flat plane, sort of like postcard 3D. We're pretty much used to that. I can extrude that. And just give it a moment. Oh, yeah. Can add some depth.
That's plane, yeah.
There we go.
Oh,
that's
cool.
nice. Right. I can rotate it, which wouldn't make sense with this text, but I can show you how that would make sense for a different object. I can inflate it, which adds like some sort of bubble to the front, which of course, if we have a black text, that is not really visible. So let's change the color to, I don't know, something that doesn't clash with the background, like a vibrant green.
What's that? Wait, take some color advice from Mads.
That's bright for me. that's bright. It looks a little bit like word art. Remember word art?
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's not remember that.
No.
That's better than word art. What you've just done there, though, that looks cool. What you've just done, very bright, but cool.
Hey, Tim, say.
Yeah.
Do you want to know a secret
Huh?
about the 3D in Illustrator?
Tell me more.
You can export that as an OBJ. And that can be read into 3D applications.
Hooray.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Wow.
It is amazing. The fact that it's actually this time, unlike the old stuff, which was based on a product called Adobe Dimension, not related to the one that we currently know and love.
Adobe Dimensions, by the way.
Adobe Dimensions, yes.
Very important.
This actually does create geometry. So just bonkers.
Speaking of word art, Maddy's absolutely right. This can look, if you just leave it at that, it can look like word art. However, the great thing about this is you can customize. You can change, of course, the depth. Make it, I don't know why somebody would ever do this, but you can. And look at that, the slider is not even at the end of the range. Okay. We can, let's make this a bit smaller. We can play with the volume, which just says how much the text should be inflated, if we are on the inflate preset. And by the way, do keep in mind that the inflate only changes the front of the text. So, for example, if I were to rotate this one and look at the back, you would see it's completely flat. Like no inflation happening at all. So let's quickly rotate. Well, by the way, this cool rotation widget works. You can either rotate it around any of the 3 axes. It's like, oh, hang on, like this. There we are. Or you can hover over the center and use the freeform rotate, which can just position it however you like this.
That was fast. To be fair, that was so fast. Out of all the steps that you would normally have to go through to, you know, that's really fast.
And of course, as always, you can, perhaps you don't like this look, so let's change it to something very flat, only 2 pixels perhaps. And now I could always duplicate the layer, and perhaps I want to arrange it and put it behind this one. I could apply some effects, like I can say edit, effect, and perhaps offset path. Make it larger. Say it's round. Yes. Change the color. Perhaps to white or anything like that. And of course, then make it plain and scale it. And now we have some sort of layered effect. Imagine having more than one layer, more than one color. You can play with the depth, you can save and extrude. So this is how you can stack and create your custom effects and styles and have a really unique look. And the great thing about this is, and this is why I wanted to say this is more than word art, is you can really get into the details. You can apply filters and so much more.
Make it gold though, bruv.
Make it pop. Just quickly wanted to highlight some of the materials and the lighting, because this right now, what we're looking at is just the default material. It's very boring. I can always apply some of the Adobe Substance materials and open in the website to find even more assets of these materials down here. The reason why there are 2 buttons is one is for the community materials and one is for the substance materials. The community ones are free and the substance ones are paid, or depending on how your subscription works, they may or may not be included. This really depends on the subscription you have. So I could say, ooh, I like this one. I can click on that. And multiple instances. Do I have more than one selected? Perhaps that's the reason why. Anyway, you can have a play around with that and see what works. Of course, you can also change. Like I want, this red one I want to have. Make it glossy. I can decrease the roundness. Illustrator says, yep, no problem, and makes it glossy. I can make it metallic and really have a play around with that. Now, lighting, and then we are almost done for today. I can talk about different ways you can adjust the lighting. You can make it darker, lighter. You can have different ways to light your object. You can have diffuse lighting, which is great if you just want to have uniform lighting. You can change, of course, the direction and have a play around with that.
Very cool.
Just enjoy messing around with that, adding shadows. And now you can imagine I'm just playing around with all that, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't. Actually, I like this. And adding some ambient light, perhaps, make it brighter. There we are, sort of bubblegum colored. Yeah, very nice.
You know, okay. I am going to book an hour into my calendar every Friday just to play, just to have a go. Right. Because I'm there's so much that you've shown today that I want to just have a go. And I encourage all of you to do the same. I think we should all just protect your time and just take an hour just to have a play with these updates. There's so much.
And the final thing, and then we're actually really done. This is just the preview, and you can actually render this, and it will look much better by clicking the icon up here. If I hover over that says render with ray tracing, and it will take a second, and there we are. See the difference? Before and after. And now we can actually see all the fun reflections. It's looking much better. And yeah, this is
nice
how
one,
you
Tim.
render. Yes.
Okay.
Nice one.
Oh, thanks.
Cool.
And there are more options in there which you can have a play around with. But that is all the time we have for today. So let me just...
It is. Well, thank you everybody for joining. Tony and Tim, your updates, the way you're using these, the things you've shown today are really useful. I've made lots of notes. So I'm going to revisit the stream and watch this on YouTube afterwards. Thank you to everyone that joined. Sandrine's hungry for Haribos now because those do look like sweets. So I'm completely with you. I really want to eat those now. But yes, join us again on Wednesday. We're going to be looking at some more updates for illustration with Rachel and with Karina as well.
There's
so make sure you join. Great to see you. Oh yeah.
Just want to mention there's actually a substance material called ice cream and donuts too. So you could actually make donuts and ice cream.
It's a good
Tim,
job.
I'm sorry I only left you 10 minutes, mate.
Oh, that's okay.
I'm sorry.
So I'm used to that. That's all right.
See you on Wednesday for Fresco, everybody. Thank you for joining and great to be with you again, guys. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.